You are now listening to the Going North podcast, where you'll receive tips and techniques to advance yourself. I'm your host, Dom Brightman, and every week we're going to be hearing from an author who's going to share their expertise to help you charge forward in life. On a quick side note, be sure to check out Going North the book. It's available in ebook, audio, as well as paperback form for those who love to read a traditional book. Now let's get on with the show.
So Happy and Grateful, written by Antonio T. Smith Jr., is life-changing. We are an unhappy people and we make unhappy decisions. But he teaches us that if we take on the responsibility of our happiness, if we look at happiness and gratitude as our duty, as our responsibility, as our birthright, we can't help but to have a prosperous life. Go buy So Happy and Grateful by Antonio T. Smith Jr. You won't be disappointed.
Today on the Going North podcast, we're back at you again with another author, but not just any author. One of the greatest things about podcasting is that you get to connect with wonderful folks from all over the world who are doing amazing things at not only a local level, but also a global level. Because this wonderful author right here is a consultant, a college instructor, and a professional speaker that helps busy professionals strike a healthy, harmonious balance between work and their real lives. And this wonderful author right here teaches whole life wellness methods via webinars, workshops, and as a keynote speaker, she offers private consulting. And she also shared her insights on life balance, plant-based nutrition, health, and self-care topics with nationally recognized publications, radio shows, and television, including The Oprah Show. So this wonderful author right here has dropped some wonderful gems of knowledge on The Oprah Show, baby. That's right. And you're probably wondering who this wonderful woman is. It's the one, the only, Diane Randall. How are you today?
I am awesome. How are you, Dom?
Oh, doing awesome, too. Together we make the AA battery. Woohoo! Yeah, I mean, hey, got to be energized, right?
Oh, yes, you do. And you are.
Oh, yes, ma'am, indeed. Yes, ma'am, indeed. Yes, was listening to some of your stuff out into the world and checking out some of your articles, and you did some amazing things, and you're still doing amazing things. So mind telling us a bit of how you got to where you currently are, because that is a lot of stuff, being able to juggle all that.
It started more than 25 years ago, and I say that because I was my first client. I was a busy professional systems engineer at the time, trying to balance a life with 2 small children and a demanding career. And I was really experiencing a lot of health problems as well as a lot of stress, just trying to juggle my life at that time. So I educated myself and just started really trying to figure out, what does being healthy, what does wellness look like? So it's taken me on this journey over 25 years, and I tell you, I never thought that I would start a path to not only helping myself, but also helping others to find and create lives that they really, really love, with a lot of healthy lifestyle, self-care, and even nutrition changes that would really support them in their work life as well as their home life.
Well, that is one heck of a amazing thing. I mean, over 20 years ago. Wow, so congrats, a 20-plus year anniversary of success, right?
More and more. Yeah, I think this work I'm doing now, I will just do it the rest of my life. I enjoy it so much, being of service and helping others, that I can't imagine not doing it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Probably imagine yourself on a random beach somewhere, right?
Oh, I that's part of self-care. That's part of self-care. So I get that in as well, definitely.
Yes, baby D. Yes, baby D. Well, that's one heck of a thing to go through. I mean, going through health issues at an early age, and that was at 30, I believe, right?
Yeah. And really not having any tools to take care of myself. I'm enjoying life. I'm having this fabulous career, but I realized that having a fabulous career and a successful career was not enough to sustain me from a health perspective. I was still experiencing a lot of stress, just trying to keep everything going in my life at that time.
That's right. And what led you to finding out that you needed to make some nutritional changes?
Oh, goodness. My health. When I became a consultant many years ago, I was eating whatever I wanted for the first time. I had an expense account. So I'm just, out every night with my colleagues, just enjoying myself with food. And I ended up being 30 pounds overweight. I ended up with a lot of digestive issues. And for a time, I really didn't know what was causing a lot of my digestive issues, and they were serious enough that I ended up in the hospital a couple of times. So and then I had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and keep in mind I'm at a really young age, and I'm experiencing all these things. But I just learned, I thought I was being healthy at that time, based on TV and everything that I saw. But I really started a journey on learning exactly what does it mean to be healthy and what does it mean to eat healthy food. What does it mean when you say nutrition? And I'm still learning, but at that time I had no clue. So over time, I made a lot of changes in my life and the way I eat, and I've helped others. And one thing I can share with you is once I totally changed my nutrition, all those health issues went away, as well as the weight gain, the fluctuation of the weight up and down, up and down, up and down. All that went away.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And you're full vegan now, right?
Full plant-based, yes, and vegan for the animals. I always say I'm vegan for the animals. Yep. And I'm still evolving, in that way. Yeah, I did the plant-based for years, and once I stepped back and changed my diet, it's just amazing how that happened. It's like I just saw myself really being connected with the animals in a way that I hadn't looked at them before, as I grew up and in my earlier life. So when I say I'm vegan for the animals, it just means that that's what keeps me from eating them. Is that I have compassion, and I'm just not interested anymore in that. But we all are different, and we're all on our own journeys to do what supports us in our best life and what we need to do.
That is a wonderful thing indeed. So in the land of cows and chickens, they will all surround you and bow down to you. It's like, yay, she will not eat us.
No, I won't. Not anymore. I won't. It's just wonderful. If you have an open mind, you have no idea how you can change and evolve. I mean, it's not something I set up and thought about. It's just where I am today. And, who knew 20 years ago, that I would even have this type of thought process. So it's been an interesting journey, a good journey, actually.
Oh, yeah, good with 10 O's, I bet.
Yep.
So how long have you were able to sustain just a full plant-based diet? Because I know it's not an overnight thing.
Oh, goodness, no. It's not an overnight thing. I started evolving many years ago, and I just really released certain things. Like when I was young in my 20s, this was before. I just stopped eating beef. I didn't even have the history, but I knew how I was feeling after I ate certain foods. So over time, I just stopped eating those foods. But when I started really getting sick and having all these chronic issues, that I knew enough that it was, what I was eating. It was, my standard American diet, lots of processed food, lots of soda, all the sweet juices. It was all those things. I knew enough and had enough awareness from my digestive issues that I could not keep eating the way I was eating, because it was really taking a toll on my body and how I felt every day. So it took, I would say, over 15 years maybe. I just started changing, slowly. Nothing happened overnight. Even when I initially became plant-based, I ate fish for like 2 years later, and then I just evolved out of that. One thing I did not do was to put pressure on myself to wear one label or another. I'm not going to put pressure on myself to stop doing anything. It had to be authentic. It had to be something that I just became aware of and just released over time, and that's exactly what happened. And it's been almost 13 years now.
Woohoo! Lucky 13. So besides the obvious things like chronic illness and possibly breaking out in the face and drinking too much soda, anything else help you to not only make that change but also to keep the gradual change growing for those who may be trying to start a plant-based diet?
It is. My mind has just opened up more and more over time, because once you start the journey and your mind is just open to things that will support you, help you feel better, help you feel move forward in your life, those are the things you start gravitating to. So it's like once I opened my mind, then I started really embracing everything that was available for me to make change, not just in my diet, but physically, mentally, spiritually, just making me more conscious of myself as well as the animals and everything that could support me. Nature, I've become more open to nature. I want to be outside. I want to be by the water. And when I was younger, I was the cabin girl. I'll wait here for you guys, But, it's just opened me up to a point where I'm just open to whatever shows up. And I feel that my life has gotten lighter because of it, because of that open-mindedness. and not putting pressure on myself and being patient with myself and wanting to learn and just being open and willing. Because once you make a change, and this is to any of your listeners that are listening, it's one step at a time. It's one little thing at a time that you do to make that transition. So it's just starting to acknowledge and really wanting that change. That's the first step. And then the second step is not putting any pressure on yourself to be one way or another, but having a wanting to be different, to educate yourself on what does it really mean to be plant-based. Because it's not just, I'm not going to eat meat anymore. It's not just that. It's what I say is I only eat foods that don't have a mother, that are grown in the ground, and that don't have a face. And I put it that simply, but it's just practice with one little thing at a time. Maybe tomorrow, if you have your, let's say, macaroni and cheese, maybe you only eat a small amount of the macaroni and cheese, and maybe you put more vegetables on your plate than macaroni and cheese. That's how you start, really small, and just put vegetables and crowd out the macaroni and cheese and just eat a small amount. That's how you start. That's how you start.
Yeah, that's right. From mac and cheese to just the mac, and then to no mac.
You know what? You can still have your mac and cheese. It's just made a different way. Like with with no dairy cheese, maybe cheese that's not dairy. But, now we're living in a time where a lot of the vegan and plant-based foods are so delicious, and have a lot of flavor. And I know, I'll just speak for myself, I really don't miss anything that I used to eat. Really, I feel I have a lot more flavor in my food because I'm not just eating, salt and peppered food. I'm actually tasting my vegetables. I felt like when I first started, for the first time, I was tasting my vegetables and really learning and exploring different foods that I hadn't done in the past. So it's just been an awesome journey for me. It's just awesome when you don't put the pressure on people to be either anyway. You don't put the pressure on people that around you to stop doing one thing or another. But what I find so enjoyable is when I model that behavior, it has more impact on people than if I was just sitting there, telling them what they should do, which one should never do.
Yeah, that's true indeed, because it's like you don't want to be one of those folks who's like, all right, I have a plant-based diet. You are a murderer. You eat animals.
I don't, that is not, believe me, I know people that do that, but for me, I feel I have to have just as much compassion for the person that's eating the meat as the animal that I want to live. Compassion is meeting everybody and everything right where they are, and not putting any more pressure. What I do is through education, through teaching my workshops, through teaching at college, I teach healthy eating and plant-based nutrition. So that's my way of being of service to people to open their minds up.
And I appreciate that, and I'm pretty sure hundreds, if not thousands, of other people appreciate that too, where you don't walk around with a sledgehammer ready to bash people's heads in for eating meat.
Well, that's no different than anyone else, that you learn something. Yes, you want to share it, but what I've learned is you cannot put anything on anybody if they're not ready to hear it or if they don't want to hear it. It's clearly a personal choice to be anyway in society or in life. So what I do is educate, and people show up if they want to hear. If they don't, that's fine too. But I've found over the years that works best. You know, if you just be that model or be that example, that works best for people.
Yeah, and I guess in a way that's a method of standing in your own power, right?
Standing in your own power. You are right. Standing in your own power, making your own decisions, and not feeling that you have to be one way or another. You really don't. As much as I would love that the whole planet becomes plant-based and vegan for the animals, I only work from where I feel I can be of greatest help, and that's in my education courses and in my speaking and in my own life, being an example for others around me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And being an example and educating so many folks indeed. So what led you to publishing your wonderful book?
Well, my book, Jumpstart Your Life, was a workshop that I've done for the past 10 years. I taught the workshop. It started out being an article called Stepping Out of Your Comfort Zone that I wrote for a little local magazine years ago. And then I did a presentation on stepping out of your comfort zone. And then when I had an opportunity to start working at a college and teaching my own workshops that I developed, I changed the presentation to a course called Jumpstart Your Life, and I taught it not just in the college but at other venues for the past 10 years. And then I said, oh, my goodness, I've been able to evolve it with the participants for all these years. And I said, I think this is ready for a book. So I was really blessed in that way that I'd been able to evolve my message to a point where I felt it was in a really good place, help others, and I could help more people by putting it into a book form. And then I called the book Jumpstart Your Life, Find Your Motivation, and Change Your Life One Step at a Time.
That's right. And you got spark plugs on the cover, so you're basically the walking Energizer Bunny with spark plugs, just putting spark plugs into people Diane style. Be like, yep, you're about to be delightful today. Boom.
But it's finding your own delight. You know, it's exploring inside of yourself and discovering and exploring what's that jump start for you. You know, how can you step out of your comfort zone and create the life that you truly, truly love? And those are some of the things that I teach in the workshop and that are in the book is how you can just start where you are. You don't have to be in a certain place. You can change every day. We talk about motivation. What does that mean? I talk about priorities, what your current life looks like. You end up with a plan in the end with at least 2 steps that you could execute in creating 2 steps to jumpstart toward the life you want to create. So I always advocate when I teach the workshop is that you will have 1 or 2 steps at the end that you can just incorporate in your life right away in terms of jumpstarting your life.
That's right. So everybody has to find their own spark plug, I guess.
Yes, that's really it. You know, it's not for me to, it's to help you dig inside of yourself and explore and discover and uncover all those dreams and aspirations that you may have had long ago, just to dig deep to see what is true for you right now today. And how do you get there?
Oh, yeah. That's right, and I believe you drop a lot of tips on how folks can get there, too, in the book, right? All 120 pages of content goodness.
Yep. Yes. Yep. And exercises, and it's a very interactive book that you use to take yourself through a journey of exploring and figuring out what makes you what motivates you, where motivation comes from, and what do you want? What do you want at this point in your life? And helping you to explore that.
That's right. So if they want it all, they have to come to you, right?
Yeah, you have to define what all means. So once you get your definition for all, we can talk. Yes. What does all mean? Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like a good blog article in the future, I guess. What does your all mean? What does all mean for you, I guess?
Yeah. Yep.
Heck, it could even be some plant-based brownies if you catch my drift.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. It's all about what you want. What do you want to create for yourself?
So in addition to your book, I'm pretty sure there have been some others that inspired you. Am I listing a title or two that may have inspired you to publish your own, or maybe some books you may be currently reading that you've really enjoyed?
Right now, I'm rereading Iyanla's book called In the Meantime. I read it probably 20 years ago, and I'm rereading it now. And I just finished a book called Surrender by Michael Sanger. And a few weeks ago, I was reading, and I read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I started this book probably 15 years ago, but I always pick it up, and I still read it. I still read different chapters. And now it doesn't matter what chapter. I'll just pick the book up and just open it up, because I feel that everything in that book is a gem. So, and each time I read it, I get something more delightful from the book. So I read a lot. Byron Katie, The Work. I love that too. If you're someone who listens to your own self-talk and negative talk, that book called The Work, it's beautiful in helping you learn to really understand that thoughts are just thoughts, and that you can become an observer and not have to react to everything that comes in your mind. So I love that work there. I love retraining and retooling myself by attending workshops all over the country. So.
Beautiful indeed. And speaking of workshops, any big ones coming up in the near future, in the next couple months or so?
Yes, actually, I have 2 workshops based on my book, Jumpstart Your Life. They're called Jumpstart, Motivate for Change. I have one coming up at DuPage College in March, and I have another one in Chicago at the Tribal Arts Center on June 1st. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Oh, yeah, folks. So bring your shopping bags and get ready to work, baby. That's right. Diane's got the spark plug to put in your ears, baby. The spark plug's going to jumpstart you, baby. All righty. So a question like to ask every guest, and that is, if you were to wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but this time in the current year, with all of your knowledge and experience, what would be the advice that you would give to yourself?
If I was 25, I would say keep going, believe in yourself. You don't have to be like anyone else. Be yourself. Be your authentic self. That's what I would tell my young self. Oh,
yeah. That's right. And she's not even 80 yet, so she's definitely still on the young side of the game. Yahoo! Woo! Well, all righty. For those who want to get in touch with you and reach out and keep in contact with what you're doing, what's the best way to reach you?
You can reach me on my website at www.dianerandallconsults, facebook.com at Diane Randall Consults, and my Twitter name is Diane Randall Consults.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the DRC, baby, that's right. On out there and head over to Amazon, and in the show notes, and then buy magical copies of Diane's wonderful book and put that spark plug in your motivation so you can jumpstart to your greatness. Yes, indeed, yes, indeed. So any parting words for the folks still listening?
Well, every day is a new day to start creating the life you truly want. It's every day is a day to get started. And thank you for having me on your show today.
How's it going, you super special, awesome human? Since you made it to the end of this episode, it looks like you really enjoyed yourself. Since you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with at least 3 people in your network and tell them what you really liked about this episode. Heck, even shoot myself or the guests an email and let them know what you liked most about this interview, so that way they can stay inspired to keep pushing out great work.